It's been a rocky road for Bitcoin in 2022 so far, and we are keeping watch. Welcome to the Daily Forkast, January 11th, 2022. I'm Angie Lau, Editor-in-Chief of Forecast News, covering all things blockchain. Well, Bitcoin briefly dipped below the $40,000 mark for the first time since September, Monday night, Asia time, but it bounced back quickly. Question is, can that recovery continue? We're going to take a look at the road ahead and a whole lot more coming up. Let's get you up to speed from Asia to the world. Well, let's kick off with some of the top stories coming out of Asia today. First up, it is official. Crypto mining is now on China's industry blacklist. The country's National Development and Reform Commission has listed the industry in the obsolete category in its guidance catalog for industrial structure adjustment. Consider that code for politically and economically canceled by the Chinese government. The catalog is used as a basis for guiding direction on domestic and foreign investment, as well as for helping government agencies in formulating fiscal and import and export policies. Now, industries in the obsolete category, which it defines as technologies which are backwards and do not have safe conditions for production or waste resources and pollute the environment, they're all prohibited from ongoing operations or seeking investments. However, a deadline for operations to cease completely has not yet been announced. Not yet, at least. Meanwhile, a new NFT collection inspired by Taiwanese superstar, singer, and actor Chou has dethroned Bored Ape Yacht Club from the #1 position by trading volume on the OpenSea marketplace. Now, the 10,000 PhantaBear series NFTs, co-created by Chou's hipster brand Fantasy, priced at 0.26 ETH or around $1,000 at the time, sold out within 40 minutes. Now, in the past 7 days, the collection's trading volume has leapt almost 500%, crossing the 17,000 ETH or $53 million mark, outrunning both Bored Ape Yacht Club and Doodles. Now, Chou definitely wasn't kidding when he said he was all about being #1, with a little help from his stans. You can find those stories and a whole lot more at forecast.news. Over in the markets, it's been a rough ride for Bitcoin so far this year. However, after dipping below the $40,000 mark overnight, it bounced back by Tuesday morning Asia time, trading at a little over $42,000. Forecast News' Lachlan Keller takes a look at the market action.
Bitcoin had been trading sideways after losing roughly 10% within 24 hours late last week before this latest dip happened. One expert told Forecast News there are multiple factors at play, with Bitcoin still being seen as a hedge against inflation, alongside headwinds from the rejections of spot Bitcoin ETFs. But he also sees a lot of potential upside because of technological developments, like the Taproot upgrade, allowing Bitcoin to start competing in the DeFi space, meaning it's more than just digital gold.
What I've seen in the early days of 2022 is just more positive signs about adoption. You've got one of the biggest neobanks in Germany adding crypto trading to its platform. This convergence of fintech around crypto becoming mainstream. More and more people will be seeing crypto, using crypto. They might be using it without necessarily knowing they're using it. It will be built into the platforms that they're using.
Miller says that while we may see more volatility ahead, 40k is not a negative level for a lot of investors who have been in the crypto space for some time, and he sees the trajectory as going up and to the right. For Forecast News, I'm Lachlan Keller.
Well, crypto assets have had quite the volatile start to the new year. Nevertheless, Bitcoin continues to reign supreme among digital currencies with a market value twice that of its nearest rival, Ethereum. Question is, will DeFi allow the OG of crypto to consolidate that position further? Well, we're going to ask David Lighton, co-founder of Lithium Finance, a platform that uses collective intelligence to price the unpriced. And he is here to give us the DeFi download. Good to see you again, David.
Good to see you, Angie. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, David, there's a lot of bear sentiment out there, and Bitcoin has had its fair share of skeptics, even as the bullish forecast for the currency, whether it's Goldman Sachs or the El Salvadorian president, are talking of a move to six figures. Do you see a network effect playing a part in that move?
First of all, I think Bitcoin will go to six-digit levels in 2022, maybe in 2023, based on its strong track record of historical exponential growth. Dan Moorhead at Pantera Capital has produced a really excellent piece of research that shows Bitcoin's log trend fitting exponential growth fairly tightly since it was created. So in principle, this ought to push the price above $100,000 sometime in 2022, or like I said, maybe in 2023. As to whether network effects play a part in that move, well, yes. Network effects occur when the value of the platform increases with each additional users. So with regard to the store of value use case, that's true fundamentally because Bitcoin has a fixed supply, right? So with each additional buyer, the supply goes down. But to the extent that these network effects increase the value of the other medium of exchange and unit of account use cases on the Bitcoin blockchain, this is also true. And I think we can look at interest in Bitcoin as to some extent crowding out investment in gold, but also crowding in investment in the digital asset space more broadly, increasing liquidity in not just Bitcoin, but all the other altcoins all the way down the food chain.
Yeah, another interesting point from the Goldman Sachs report on Bitcoin was that the currency could see an enhanced role as a store of value, taking away market share from gold over the next few years. But what do you think DeFi's role could be in this?
To the extent that Bitcoin enjoys an increased role as a store of value, there will be an increased confidence in the DeFi sector overall. Because Bitcoin has historically been correlated with the price of the altcoins. So to me, this is maybe the most interesting network effect, a reinforcing loop. As the demand for Bitcoin increases, the price of the altcoins also increases. And as the liquidity in altcoins increases, the builders in the DeFi ecosystem have more liquidity to use to build their projects. So the real network effect here is in the broader blockchain and digital assets ecosystem. As the value of Bitcoin increases and Bitcoin takes away market share from gold, the market power of DeFi increases and it poses a greater threat to the marketplace for traditional financial services, in my view. So obviously, we're seeing this play out on a small kind of infant scale at the moment, but I see DeFi as roughly 10 years behind Bitcoin in going mainstream. So ultimately, DeFi has at least as much to contribute to the world as Bitcoin does, based on its capability to be the kind of ultimate example of fintech and innovation in financial services by disrupting a sort of traditional centralized players. So we have to envision a world where Bitcoin goes above 100,000 and a world where people start to go to DeFi providers as their main sort of banking relationship.
Well, Bitcoin 13 years in, DeFi, you could say it's still in the toddler phase, but there's no doubt migration is happening right now and speeding up in 2022. Thanks so much, David, for the DeFi download. And that's the Daily Forecast from our vantage point right here in Asia. Hit like, hit subscribe. We appreciate it always. Helps us reach our goal to reach more of you. And don't forget to hit that alert button as well. For more, visit forecast.news. I'm Editor-in-Chief Angie Lau. Until the next time.